Welcome back to Lost Legacies, a Hidden City Book Company production. I'm Sam, I'm Matt, and we're your hosts. Welcome back, everyone. So happy to have you all on board. We're talking about Andor today. We're still going strong in our watch, but before we get into it, my brother told me he's conflicted about something.
Yeah, man. So I don't even know how to best approach this, so I'm just gonna dive in. This past week, we were introduced to AI Vader in Fortnite. Did you hear about this?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Did you see any of the footage?
No, I was reading up on some of it though.
Yeah, it's nuts. We'll probably, if we're gonna play tonight, we might run into him. Because I don't play Fortnite on my own.
Mhm.
I'm usually with the group, so I haven't really experienced it, but I've been watching other videos of it. And I mean, it's straight up. You can have a conversation with him. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And um so right now SAG after is I don't know if they're suing or what, but they're taking Fortnite to court because basically they didn't give them a heads up or something like that. And I'm like, oh man, that's
Mm.
I get it, you know. I fully support that. It's just it's wild because apparently Disney is saying that they already sorted all this out with James Earl Jones' family. And I think we
Right.
had heard about that after he passed.
Yeah.
Like he'd
Yeah.
given them the rights and to his likeness. Um, which in itself is always like, okay. But yeah, man, it's such a complicated topic of conversation. I don't know. Like watching it and like first off watching it and seeing the conversations you can have with AI Vader, I was like, wow, this is impressive. That's not what's being debated. What's being debated is how like ethical this is.
Yeah.
Like, because on one hand, if you have the actor's permission and the family's permission, okay, that's fine. But I think it's also the fact that people are trying to use this to replace actual working voice actors, and that's where
Yeah.
the issue comes in. So it's not so much AI Vader in himself in this like discussion that's the issue. It's more of just like overall, it's so much cheaper than hiring an actor.
Mm.
So that's where it gets all crazy. And I'm like, damn. And you know, I've been watching Star Trek and I love Star Trek. And the whole time I'm watching, the first thing I thought of when I saw AI Vader, I was like, damn, we're one step closer to the holodeck.
Mm.
Like, and it kind of dawned, it's been dawning on me. I've been thinking about it. I'm like, Star Trek's AI. I mean, if you
Mm.
think about it, they didn't really know back in the day, but Star Trek has always like invented technology for their show before it
Mhm.
was an actual reality in real life. And so now I'm like, that's got to be AI, you know? And
Yeah.
I just saw an episode a couple weeks ago where a lot of the crew members are like they're having like Riker he's having trouble sleeping like no matter how much he sleeps he's just exhausted. Um Worf is getting like these weird pains, like all this random stuff is happening and they can't figure it out. And basically, they discovered that everyone's being um, they're disappearing from the ship for
Mm.
certain chunks of time. Spoiler alert: it turns out they're actually being abducted by aliens. You know, it's
Whoa.
it's a classic alien abduction story in Star Trek. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this is rad.
That's fun.
But there's this really cool scene where they're all in the holodeck and they start like relating the things that they've seen,
Hmm.
like flashes. So they're like, computer, pull up a chair. And it pulls up a chair. More metallic. Okay. Make it bigger. Put some switches on it. Okay. Now bring up a light. Okay. So like each one is contributing and you're seeing how this chair is changing and then
Hmm.
how the table's changing, the lights, and then it's really creepy because the creepy music starts setting in once they start narrowing it down and they realize they've all seen the same torture chair essentially.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
whole time, the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, dude, this is AI. This is exactly what AI is doing right now, you
Mm.
know? And I'm like, damn. Yeah. I think it's a tool that could be used for good, but we got to sort ourselves out as a as a society first before,
Yeah.
and like that's when in history has that ever aligned, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. And it also comes down to the idea of like, we could be getting another actor to do this Darth Vader voice. We could
Yeah.
be giving someone else this shot.
For sure. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's like that's been my gripe with studios ever since Rogue One. You know, when once they decided to go full on, like no, we're gonna use this mocap technology
Yeah.
to bring actors back from the dead, and it's like that's like at some point you just have to let it go.
Yeah.
I don't care about continuity at that point. Like that's just morally I'm against it.
hmm I mean, yeah, I can see that. So they recently did the Star Trek short film. I forgot what it was called, but essentially it's like what happens to Kirk after he dies, right? Did you
Right.
did you see it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've
What?
talked about it.
Okay, yeah. Did we talk about it on the pod? I don't want to
I don't
repeat
no, I don't
myself.
think we did. No.
I repeat myself about everything. But yeah, so Sam Witwer, who is really he's a really popular actor and voice actor, especially in the Star Wars crowd. He was one of the minds behind this film, and he did like the body work for Kirk and stuff. And he was saying he's like the way he sees it is you should be working like the unions and the guilds and the AI people should be working together. So essentially, it's like the actors essentially get paid for their likeness, which,
Mm,
yeah, that sounds perfect. Instead of just saying, like, oh, yeah, we'll give you like Disney or whatever, they're like, here's $15 or whatever, and then we get to use your likeness forever. It's like, no, hell no.
yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like, no, if you get paid and compensated for the work that your AI does, that kind of changes the game a little bit. But also, especially when it comes to animation stuff, you can continue to play the same character for decades, you
Yeah.
know? And I was like, wow. I was like, yeah, that's a very interesting way of looking at it. Um, so yeah, I think there's just a lot of we're still at the very start of this journey and this open AI landscape. We just need to we're not it's not going to get good like ethically and sit right with me anyway until we're much further in and we start figuring things out. And everyone else is just like um it seems like they don't care. And then there's also
Yeah.
the actual it depends what kind of AI are we talking about because this is definitely for we're talking about a video game or movies and stuff like that which is different from all these other types of uses of AI that are literally killing the planet.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's this whole smorgasbord of crap we gotta sift through. And but yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. Very interesting, especially since this is technically a Star Wars podcast for the next couple of months. I figured I would bring it up. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if I would want me personally. I've never played an iconic character, so I don't know what that feels
Sure.
like.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if I would want someone to like, well, after you're gone, we can continue to have this character. Because on one hand, that's kind of cool. It's like, oh, well, that's nice. But then on the other hand, it's like, yeah, but it's just like it's fake me.
Hmm.
There's no love, there's no heart in that performance, no matter how good it is.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just goop that sounds like you, kind of looks like you,
yeah.
and gets to say things that you maybe would, either as a character or as a
hmm
person just wouldn't say, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a big part of it too. It's just like,
Hmm.
well, crap. That comes down to us again, the people again. It's like, damn. All
Yeah.
right. Um, yeah, and because I was thinking about it too. I think that kind of argument of like you can play this one character forever or whatever, we can bring back this character, that character, and I think people are kind of just exploring like all these things you can do with AI instead of actually like treating it as like a tool to help tell your story,
Mhm.
like they're just using it to replace things, and it's like I don't know. Also, because it's like okay, well, let's say supposedly Harrison Ford has played Indiana Jones for the last time,
Yeah.
so I'm sure there's some studio guy out there thinking about, well, we can't replace Harrison Ford as Indy. It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So let's do it as an AI, and it's like, I don't know. I kind of feel like the lesson should be no, let's just stop telling those stories or do a cartoon, do something animated,
Yeah.
Like there's voice actors out there who really good. Troy Baker, who did the video game,
Yeah.
he's an amazing voice replacement for Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I don't know, man. Also, I feel like I'm kind of over the bringing your heroes back type genre.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And I feel like it's just going to get worse now with AI. It's like,
Hmm.
guys, no, we didn't learn. Like,
That's like, and like that, like that's the thing that I feel like these next like Avengers movies are essentially doing.
yeah, it's
Say
too
we're
late.
bringing back the X-Men. We're gonna bring back all these people.
Oh,
And it,
okay, like the Fox X-Men.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and it's like it's kind of just the nature of movies and TV that sometimes you don't really get uh you don't really get like a good version of a bow out.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like, because like you plan for a sequel and then the movie doesn't do so good, so okay, no more sequel. Or
Right.
your TV show gets canceled and oh, okay, no more TV show. And that's the business. That's always been the business.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're all into, now that nostalgia is the craze,
Mm-hmm.
and we get to continue to bring back our heroes, the people we grew up with, and cross over with the new generation, the next
Mm-hmm.
batch of heroes. It's what's it all for? What does it mean? And it's like in terms of the X-Men, like some of them have had multiple send-offs.
Yeah.
We've sent off Patrick Stewart as Professor X like 3 times already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I swear to God, if we have to watch him die one more time in a Marvel movie, I might walk out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
uh, but but yeah, I don't know. That's more me being like upset at I guess like the direction of Marvel and less so like using this like generative AI or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what's to stop them? That was a whole joke in Deadpool and Wolverine where like we're gonna have Hugh Jackman play Wolverine till he's 90. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what's to stop that? What's
Yeah.
to stop both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman from being, these characters till the heat death of the universe? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got nothing. I got nothing. I'm trying to find like a way to talk about it, and it's just like no, it sucks. That's what it comes down to. Because at the end of the day, there's no passion in it, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're just gonna get everything's gonna be more Deadpool and Wolverine. Like
And
that felt
that's
like an AI movie. And I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell is this, man? Like,
Yeah. That's my thing too, like all these accounts on every single, social platform right now. You have all these accounts dedicated to, posting up, like
mhm,
this is the new, I don't know, Odyssey 2.0 or whatever, generative AI model. I don't know what they're called.
mhm,
And I'm not gonna go look them up. But they keep posting these videos. And yes, I will admit they are getting more lifelike. They are
Hmm.
getting a lot better at recreating what human beings look like.
Hmm.
Yes, they're able to. I saw one today where it was, like, just looking. It was like a series of like tests, and the very first one was like this grizzled old man leaning against the side of a boat, out in the open sea. It's kind of sunset, and he's just, talking. He's conversing. I also didn't listen with what the audio was saying because I didn't care. Um, but I'm just looking at it, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, you're getting close.
Hmm.
You're getting close to what people look like.
Hmm.
So what? the
Hmm.
the the composition is still off. You're making
It's
something that looks beautiful. What people are doing, and what I don't think they realize, is that uh you're making screensavers. These look
Mhm.
like very good screensavers,
Mhm.
and if you tried to make a movie that looked just like this, let's just say a 90-minute movie that looked exactly like that, it's just 90 minutes of a screensaver,
Mhm.
and it's nothing. There's no you hit the nail on the head. There's no passion. There's no there's no real artistry in it. And any bit of artistry that does end up seeping through the goop and ends up coming out of the slop isn't yours. And you can't take credit
Right.
for it because somebody else did it and somebody else did it better and you had to copy it from them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Chat GPT. It's like that's not you know, that's not a therapist. That's not somebody that you ask for, help on a job application.
Mhm.
That's not somebody that you ask to help write your novel because it doesn't like it's going to give you an approximation, but that's
Yeah.
all it's ever going to be. It's never going to be what your voice is, what your story is. And I guarantee you whatever you think you're writing with ChatGPT, it's just it's nothing. It's still going to
Mhm.
be nothing. Like, yes, I can read your book and say that was a book, but I'm not going to feel anything from it.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. It's just people who don't want to do the work are trying to take credit for this thing that they've created, which they really haven't, you
Yeah.
know? Now, everyone uses it to different varying degrees and stuff, but like instead, if you're going to use AI, it should be with the CGI and the FX artists and stuff who are already like needing the help. It should help enhance their vision and the tools and what they're using, but it shouldn't just be completely replacing their jobs.
Yeah.
you know this AI should be an app you open on your computer to do your editing,
Hmm.
not like edit it for you, or not to do your VFX, but like it should be like Photoshop. Like AI should be a tool set that you could use
Yeah.
instead of this thing that's just making it on its own. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's stupid. And then of course people are trying to make money off of it. So
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah, it's nuts, man. It's wild. I don't know if this is a hot take because I don't really hear anyone talking about it, but deep down in my heart of hearts,
Uh-huh.
I think this new How to Train Your Dragon movie is AI. Like
Mm.
I'm watching these trailers and I'm like, there's something just off. It's like really uncanny valleys for me. Like the
Yeah.
people don't look real. Either that or I just don't know. It's either AI or it's AI enhanced because they don't look like real people. They look
Mhm.
like the animation, and it's just
Yeah.
like, is that just, I can't tell if that's a good prosthetics or bad prosthetics, or is
Mm.
it, or are they CGIing like everyone's noses? Like I just don't know. And they just dropped like another trailer, and I'm watching it, and like in my mind too. I kind of took it, I kind of like had to take a step back for a second. I was like, oh crap, wait a minute, this is live action. Like I completely forgot about it because like I saw this one like shot with a character, and I'm just like, oh, interesting. I was like, who's that? I was like, oh, I think it's this character. I was like, and I stopped and like, wait a second, this is live action, right? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh man. So yeah, ever since they dropped that first teaser and the fact that they it seems like they pumped it out so fast. I don't know how long they've been working on it, but they
Mm.
already have the sequels like planned. I honestly think it's heavy AI is being used in this movie.
Hey, like yeah. I've only seen, I guess, like that initial trailer. Oh, actually saw it, I think, when we went to go see Thunderbolts.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I was mostly just caught up in how like what what are we doing here, guys? Why do we need this?
Yeah, it's
You
exactly the
know?
same.
Like it's the same movie almost shot for
The
shot.
shots, the compositions, like
Yeah.
it's I feel like they took the original movie and put it through like an AI generator and they just started tweaking. And
Yeah.
like they probably had like and this is just speculation. Like this is like conspiracy theory right here.
Yeah.
Like they probably hired the actors to come in and do the acting all on green screen. But then
Mm,
they just like put them in this AI movie, this AI enhanced version of the original movie.
mm.
Like that's the conspiracy theorist in me. It's just it doesn't look right, man. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Oh. Oh well.
It's crazy out there. This is a heavy episode,
This is a
folks.
heavy episode, guys. I also think I mean at the same time like I said we're closer than ever to the holodeck. I've always thought that the future of cinema is video games. And
I yeah,
I've been
I
saying that for decades since I was a kid.
yeah, yeah,
Because with the
it's
3D and just we're just so wanting to put ourselves into these worlds, all it takes is the ability the example I always use was Godfather because they I
mm,
remember a long time ago or I don't know how long ago but they started toying with this thing where they started adding like 360 degrees to films. Do you remember that?
oh, I remember that.
So
Yeah.
you can watch The Godfather and you can turn the camera so you could actually see like the rest of Marlon Brando's office,
Yeah.
even if that wasn't in the original film.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's the holodeck. So next step is like we're sitting in the office talking to Marlon Brando in The
Hmm.
Godfather. And then from that point, all you need to do is reach out on the desk and pick up a pencil and it's no longer a movie. It's a video game.
Yeah.
And we're getting closer and closer to that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, you know, like the the like I and I guess, little kind of like premonition of like what's what's one of the hottest, nerdy commodities right now. Well, it's live action role plays. It's a bunch of
yeah.
people sitting at a table where
Hmm.
literally that's kind of what they're doing. They're like preemptively making, stories that would be played in a holodeck.
Yeah.
It's not LARPing,
Hmm.
but that's essentially what we'd eventually get to once we, focus and like hunker down and really like perfect and refine AI and chat GPT and all of that. It's like we're gonna be able to just punch up a thing and be like, hey, computer, load up Matt's Indiana Jones adventure where Matt
Hmm.
gets to play Indy, I get to play Sala, and we're, running
Yeah.
around together.
See, I mean, we're playing Baldur's Gate 3 where we get to make our own characters.
Yeah.
Um, and then like I don't if you want to talk about people who use AI, Corridor Crew, their D&D series, like they're
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
And they're like physically in the game and it's like yeah that's what I kind of see the future of is. I think at some point hopefully it's long after we're dead, hopefully we live long fruitful lives and then time passes,
Mm.
um and then like the future of cinema is just games. Oh, I have this great idea. I'm going to film this thing. The clone of Martin Scorsese is going to do this thing, and then
Hmm.
it's like we're going to put you in it. You're the main character. You get to survive in Scorsese's world or Tarantino's world, you know? And
Mm,
it's like, yeah, I kind of see that that's what the future is, you know?
yeah.
And I've kind of wondered about that in Star Trek. Like, do they have movies or do they not need them because they have the holodeck? Like, everyone
Mm,
literally curates their own entertainment.
yeah, I don't know.
Wow. Wow. Boom. Mind blown, dude. Yeah. Dude, yeah, I don't know. And of course, I mean, I know a long time ago, I had a like a media mentor. We had like this little like visual arts like I don't know, it was like a show or something. Like it's not stand up, but like he was on a stage just talking. It was like his own version of TED Talks. It's just
Mm,
him. And this was long before TED Talks. But he was saying like, yeah, the first thing, you know, when the holodecks are created, um, the first thing that's going to make it big is porn. It's like,
yeah,
oh yeah, because like they are kind of I want to say pioneers, but they're the ones who use a lot of the technology first because they know people are going to pay money. You
yeah.
know, I was like, wow.
Mhm.
And as an adult watching Star Trek, I have a lot of questions about the holodeck and the ethics behind it
Yeah,
because you can get into some crazy stuff in the holodeck. And I'm like,
it's
huh,
true. It's true.
wow, yeah.
You know.
Man, it's kind of like The Simpsons. They Star Trek predicted so much, but whereas The Simpsons like predicts the world, Star Trek really kind of predicts the technology.
Yeah, and that's one of those things where it's so hard because they sort of just create an idea they're not necessarily thinking like, oh, like what is the technology actually going to look like in the future. It's like, no, like what they're doing is like, what what is a thing that we have now that we can in a way kind of like make minimalist. A tricorder is, this entire little laptop. It's a little laboratory laptop that you just have in the palm of your hand. The communications thing, you
Hmm.
know yeah, there's just so much shit. Even the holodeck, like holodecks were really just like, well, hey, like these people are living on a starship for a
Hmm.
long time. They're not going until, like, there's no, like, I feel like there's almost no shore leave anymore, because why would you need it when you have
Mm.
the holodeck, you know?
Interesting. Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there is, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that's getting more into like the technical side, but like for these longer voyages, like the Enterprise, it's like, oh yeah. And the fact that there are families on there too, I'm sure, like, well, families are like, oh well, we can't wait until we get to Starbase 7 or whatever. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, why don't we rent the holodeck? We'll take a trip to
Hmm.
Paris or whatever, Rigel 9, whatever. It's like, oh yeah, great. And then they get to do it. And
Hmm.
and yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I lost my train of thought there.
Oh. Yeah, no, but yeah, it's I don't know, it's just it's crazy to think about, you know?
Hmm.
Um and I'm not one of those people who are like scared of technology or anything like that. Uh but you know, there's a lot of harm that AI is actually physically doing right now, which kind of sends off all the red alerts, you know, in my head, and it's just like, oh man, I don't know. I wonder if they have these problems in Star Wars, or are they too busy being oppressed to think about it?
Probably. I mean, on some planet somewhere, maybe not as backwater as like Ferrix
Hmm.
or Jakku or something, but like on some mid-system world, yeah, for sure they're going. I'm sure Lando has to deal with all of this, like, kind of crap on Cloud
Hmm.
City.
I wonder, like, what's the propaganda like in Star Wars?
Mm,
You know, I have yet to really see that.
okay. I won't say it specifically,
Uh-huh.
but we do touch on that in Andor season 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because I was thinking the same thing, and then when it popped up, I was like, oh.
Hmm.
Yeah, like we don't necessarily see like any sort of like a news cycle or any sort of like propaganda posters or anything,
Yeah.
you know? Um, yeah.
Remind me, in V for Vendetta,
Hmm.
like their prime minister, their leader,
Hmm.
what was he dead? Was he real?
Yeah, he was real.
Oh, he was real. Oh,
Yeah.
what was I watching? I could have swore I was watching something where like the leader was actually died a long time ago, but they essentially AI him
Right.
before we even started talking about AI, you
Right,
know?
right, right. Um, the example that I know, spoilers alert for the movie Equilibrium, but from the movie Equilibrium, that's it's kind of the same thing. It's a big brother society,
Yeah.
we've suppressed emotions, nobody can, feel anything. Um, but yeah, their leader, their overlord, he's just like a screen and everybody keeps talking about him, and then at the one of the very last twists is that like his right hand man has been secretly running the show for a while because
Mm.
he died.
Hmm.
Like he died, he got like sick, and it was almost a super quick thing, and they're like, oh well, we still need the leader, so
Yeah.
let's keep it going.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I think technically this is too much, and this is a topic, a can of worms that I really don't want to open or get into. But I think that's part of some of the lore for Warhammer,
Mm.
where
Oh,
one of the factions, uh like one of their factions, their leader is kind of essentially like a deified pope.
hmm.
And I think it might be part of the lore that like technically he might not be alive
Yeah.
anymore, but they're still using like his like bodily consciousness and
Yeah.
sort of like to just like hype it up and like
Yeah.
keep it
Warhammer's
going.
crazy, man. That's like
It's like it's a lore lasagna.
it's like religious fanaticism and religious trauma had a baby, and that baby was a tabletop role-playing game.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know? Um,
Mixed in with all the like military like ethics and propaganda going
yeah.
into it too,
Yeah.
because it's a huge strategy game.
Yeah. And I get flashbacks to COVID.
Why?
You remember that when I took me like 4 years to get COVID, but I got it the
Hmm.
weekend the Warhammer game dropped.
Oh, that's right.
So like I was just like so I kind of thought I'm like, okay, I know this is gonna suck.
Mm,
I'm just gonna stay home, play video games the whole time until I feel
yeah.
better. And Warhammer was just so disturbing. Like
Mm,
out like normally fine, okay. I'm okay with it. I don't really have a problem. But when I was sick, I'm like, dude, this is some dark stuff.
yeah.
And then that night when I was sleeping, I was having like Warhammer like dreams. I was like in this fever dream and like I don't know what they're called, like the doctor person who's like, oh yes, we can fix him, we can make him better, and all this. I was like, I was a space marine, and they're working on me, and I'm like,
Hmm.
it was so real because it's one of those sleeps where like you don't realize you're asleep, and like I was coming in and out of consciousness. I'm like, and I was hearing, the all the chanting and the guys in the background. I was like, oh my god, and then the next day I'm like, I can't do this. I can't play this game. I paid like $80 for this game that I played once. I'm like,
Damn.
even now, I'm like, no, I'm not going back. It's just,
Yeah.
it's kind of like when you drink too much, like vodka. That was my drink that I can't do
Mm,
anymore. Just the smell of it kind of makes me sick now. It's kind
same.
of the same thing. Warhammer, I'm just like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone else enjoy it. Go to therapy. And if you still enjoy it after therapy, I guess have fun with it.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
for sure.
no, I won't be watching the Henry Cavill show. But it's interesting. I don't know, just think about the propaganda and all that stuff because I'm just gonna dive into it. We're halfway through our episode. Um, we get to meet Mon Mothma's kid this go around.
Yes.
And it was just real quick, one little scene. I'm like, oh, she totally thinks her mom is Empire. Like,
Mm,
definitely. That's the vibe I got. Or like, or not Empire, but like, because she was like, "You're part of it. All. You're part of it." I'm like, "Oh yeah,
yeah,
okay, yeah."
yeah. Yes, officially talking about Andor season 1, episode 5, The Axe Forgets, in which Cassian has to very quickly ingratiate himself into his rebel squadron right before
Hmm.
their big heist. But yeah, since we're already on that, on talking about Mon Mothma and her kid,
Hmm.
it is interesting because I like the way that they present this entire marriage, like Mon and her husband Perrin, as like, oh yeah, this is a bad marriage. Like these people don't
Yeah.
like each other, you know? I like when I first watched this, I almost thought that like I guess because like Perrin was introduced in the previous episode, and I thought that like, oh, maybe he's just one of those like, oh, I just want good vibes, like a good vibes guy, just kind of like
Yeah.
like a fine husband, you know, maybe not the best, but like he's like decent. And then once we get into this episode, it's like, okay, no, this is a toxic relationship. Like
Hmm.
Perrin is just, if not openly insidious, is like, like, hey, I'm gonna just not get involved when my daughter and my wife are arguing,
Hmm.
even though I very clearly think my daughter's right, or I'm taking my daughter's side at least,
Hmm.
uh, like having all that, and then of course having like the arrogance of youth, of a teenager, of like obviously knowing what's best for them, knowing everything about the world already, and it's uh, uh, like,
Yeah.
Mon is just pinned into a corner,
Yeah.
and it sucks because it's like, yeah, she has to play the bad guy now
Hmm.
because her husband doesn't respect her and her
And
daughter probably doesn't like her.
I'm kind of interested in that too. Like, what does the husband know? You know what I mean?
Mm,
About Mon. Like, where does this come from? Were they a happy family before, or does he kind of know she's messing with the rebellion? I don't think so.
mm.
Or does he think she's, because I don't even know what her job is, but she's some big hotshot higher up, right?
She's a senator.
Oh, that's right. Well, see,
Yeah.
okay, there you go. So she's a senator. So does that come from him just thinking like the daughter, yep, she's just part of the problem, you know?
Yeah.
Or what, like he,
Yeah.
because I'm not sure if he's just like a bad dude or if he's like one of those people who kind of just like he's just sitting on the fence. Bad stuff is
Mm,
happening, but I'm safe here. I'm taking care of a family, whatever. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like, and because I could imagine, especially if we're kind of seeing a lot of that right now, a lot of people who are refusing to see what's going on around them, you know, that kind of lying to yourself could definitely spread into your life. It's like a festering wound. So it's like, is
mhm,
that where it's coming from? Does he think his wife is part of the problem and
mm,
he's just kind of like festering? Or does he think she's rebelling somehow and he's totally against it? Like, I don't know yet.
yeah.
Or is he just like a corrupt dude and he's like, no, I don't want you doing any good? Because she does have that line, oh, I thought you wouldn't care because it's charity.
Hmm.
Like, huh,
Hmm.
interesting. But then again, from Mon Mothma's perspective, like, who knows what she sees? Like, does she see her husband as, someone like we used to stand for something and now you're just sitting on the fence idly by,
Right,
you
right.
know? So I can easily see her replying with that, if that were the case, like, well, it's charity, what would you care? You
Yeah.
know? So yeah, it's very complicated. I'm very fascinated by it.
Hmm.
And I want to learn more. And then, of course, the daughter comes out. It's like, of course, the rebel leader's kid isn't going to know that they're a rebel leader, you
Hmm.
know? So it's like, ah, crap.
Hmm.
That sucks, man. uh, and I mean, I don't know anything about Mon Mothma other than she was in A New Hope, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
oh, was she in Return of Jedi as well?
yeah, yeah.
She
She's
was,
in
right?
Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi. Yeah.
So, okay. So I'm assuming she survives the whole thing because we don't see her in the sequels, right?
No, no.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. That just sucks. You have to rebel against the Empire and your teenager hates you. So, or maybe the teenager's totally bought in and she's down with the cause and she's like, Mom, you're causing too much trouble. You know, uh-uh.
Say, Mom, you gotta chill. All
Yeah, you
right.
gotta chill, you
Your
know.
your Senate speeches, they're too much. You gotta tone it down.
I just
Rev it down, Mom.
what, what movie is it where like they're having a conversation with the parents and then like the kids are in the background doing like the Nazi salute and marching?
Oh God.
I forgot
What?
what movie this was, but I'm like, who knows? That could be her daughter.
Oh God.
I was like, oh man,
Hey, they're a political family living on Coruscant.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Maybe.
Oh man,
Speaking of another family that lives on Coruscant, let's talk about Cyril and his mom.
oh man, they're doing such a good job with his character because it's like, I feel bad for this guy,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, even though he's done so much that we just absolutely hate. I think he's in a position where like a lot of people can relate to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm just like, oh dude.
Mm-hmm.
So also, I don't know, it was like two or three scenes he had with his mom at the table eating the damn cereal. So is one, this the only food they have? Or two, it was just over the course of several breakfasts. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. That
'Cause there's a lot of space cereal in this episode.
that was an interesting one. I do think that like it could have been. It was just interesting the way like we're introduced to Cyril this episode. Like he's in his bedroom looking out the window, and there's just that small sliver of sky between the buildings, and he gets to see the sun
Yeah.
for like 5 seconds, and
Yeah.
then it's gone. And I'm like, oh man, like that right there tells you everything you need to know about this guy. It's like he has always wanted to get out of where he is. And then at the end, the last scene, where he's looking at Andor's picture, it's at like sunset. And I don't think we get to see the sunset,
Hmm.
but it's just like it's already happened and he's just in his room in the dark, contemplating everything that's been said this episode. So I I definitely think, because on Aldani, it's like 3 days. I think kind of
Oh,
speed we
okay.
kind of speed through like 3 days. I
Yeah.
don't know the times of all the different planets in Star Wars. I don't want
That's
to get
true.
into,
That's true.
so theoretically this could have just been one day, you
Yeah.
know. Um that might, like the apartment is small. It's so low, it's on such a low level
Hmm.
on Coruscant that it's like potentially like there was that like tray that Edie kind of like pushed towards towards Cyril that like I'm assuming is some kind of fruit. So
Hmm.
maybe that is all the food that they have,
Yeah.
or like the basics that they can have. Um but also like let's just think like what a opposite relationship. If we want to talk about like mirrors and like how like Cassian and Cyril are like foils of each other or mirrors of each other. Cassian doesn't have a super great relationship with his mom right now, but I think it's 10 times better than Cyril
Yeah.
and his mom. She's just so
Cassian's definitely someone who's you know, been oppressed.
Hmm.
and who's constantly having to deal with having his rights and freedoms taken from him.
Hmm.
Whereas Cyril seems like someone who's a bit what's the word I'm looking for? Like I guess privileged. I'm not exactly sure how privileged though, but it seems like he's coming from a perspective of he's not getting what the empire like promises.
Hmm.
So to him, he needs to work his way up there to get it, you
Hmm.
know? And it's like anyone who doesn't come from money and they're like, okay, well, that's the goal, you know? It's not the
Yeah.
family, it's not the love. And in his case, it really seems like there's a lack of love in his upbringing.
Hmm.
But it's like it's the money. That's what I gotta fight for. Um, so it's like, it's almost like it's the story of two kids who are both out of the empire's reach almost, but
Hmm.
one sees it as like, oh, that's the goal, and the other one sees like, no, they're the reason why I don't have it,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one wants to become one, and the other one wants to just run, and now slowly he wants to fight back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's just fascinating, man. Tony Gilroy, you son of a bitch. Did you grab my ass?
Oh my
Sorry, I'm
God.
mixing references here.
Wow. I just got off the phone with Tony Gilroy. He's in LA. There's no way he could have grabbed your ass.
Tony, I know your tricks. If you don't get the reference, go watch Night at the Roxbury.
God, wow. What a dated movie.
I know, right?
Ugh.
Maybe the best SNL? Oh no, probably Blues Brothers would be the best SNL movie.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
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 Honestly, I feel like there's not a lot to talk about this episode. Like, I got no complaints. I absolutely loved everything in it. I
Hmm.
love how the stories just keep pushing forward. It's kind of like what I said. I knew we're not going to actually get to the heist until the third part.
Yeah.
Um, but they did enough setup, and I like how much character development or just like character juice we got in this one. I like that we got to know more about Cassian and Skeen. Is that his name?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to learn both about their characters, and it wasn't in an exposition kind of way. It was like, no, just they're in a way they're kind of bonding, but also butting heads because they're talking about their experience as soldiers, you
Hmm.
know. And I'm like,
And as prisoners, from like Skeen's like chest tattoo. That's kind of what it seemed like,
yeah, that's kind of what I meant. They were
Oh,
conscripted soldiers.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, and like, dude, it's I don't know, it's crazy. I'm excited to see what goes down in the next episode. I'm also afraid because I don't know. I feel like people
Mm.
are gonna die.
I was worried, because when we were going through like the last three or the previous that first batch of three, it
Yeah.
was definitely like, oh, okay, yeah, like I was worried about how it was gonna feel, and did I just like misremember and
Yeah.
think that like, oh yeah, like it kind of did like dip in tension and stuff. I don't I, and to that I don't think it really did. Like we're still on kind of we're like there's still tension going on,
Hmm.
and as far as like the pacing and the excitement, it's so crazy to say that like it was just so exciting to get to see people like having to come together and like
Yeah.
quickly problem solve and be like, okay, this is the plan now, and now we've got to go do this, you
Yeah.
know. Even just seeing like the whole episode really is like Cassian just trying to bond, but this is still the Cassian that like just ran away from, from a firefight, from almost getting caught,
Yeah.
so he's still not the rebel leader in Rogue One yet.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's cool to see, and even him straight up admitting that yeah, he's being paid to do this. Because why would somebody just do this?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's a big moment too. Like, I'm glad that no one figured it out. He straight up admitted it, you
Yeah.
know? And I like that too. He's like, I'd rather y'all like hate me but know the truth than have to worry about who's watching my back.
Hmm.
And I'm like, dude, that was brilliant. Because after that scene, I was just like, or like, well, not like after the first part of the scene where they're arguing and fighting, I'm just like, oh man, like, okay. But then when he admits that, I was like, oh, okay, that took a right turn. I didn't think he was going to do that. Because
Yeah.
I mean, that's Hollywood storytelling. We get that all the time. You
Yeah.
know, when you have someone with the secret, they're going to keep it. So it's very rare if we actually see them own up to it. You know, I'm like, oh, I was
Hmm.
like, nice. So I really dug that. Um, you could kind of see, you know, the kid's heart breaks. I forgot what the kid's name is, but I'm like, oh, he's totally gonna die. He's writing a manifesto, man. Like he's gonna die. I did this past Saturday. I rewatched episodes 1 through 3 with Dad,
Hmm.
and he loved it. He dug it, but it's kind of the same thing that I felt after those first 2 episodes. He was just like, that was good. I was like, yeah, that
Yeah.
was. But then after the third one, it's like, okay, all right, we're in it now.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
we're cooking. So, yeah. So the plan is, everyone, Dad's gonna join us next week as we talk about episode 6.
Ooh.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I like Stellan Skarsgård and his what's his name, Luthen,
Yeah. Luthen.
Luthen and his assistant
Yes. Clea.
Clea. She was great. Like she that's the type of assistant you need. Someone who can just like kick your ass when you need it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's like
yeah,
I wouldn't dare to call like Luthen's character like a dreamer,
yeah,
but definitely a person who can get lost in, like the unknown, the not knowing. Like it's like there is that's the like this is the goal, and I'm hoping that I've laid everything out,
yeah.
and the fact that I don't know if it's going to work or not, like I that's sort of the idea of like that's the dream for him, and having Clea just be like the more pragmatic, like,
Yeah.
hey, it's either going to work or it's not, and we can't do anything right
And
now.
and but that was like the first moment we've seen vulnerability in his character, you know?
Yes, yes.
And just the way the storytelling is it's so good and it just feels fresh. Um, you know, and Dad and I were talking about this about the first 3 episodes. Um, it's I guess it's both it's a good thing and a bad thing because it's part of the our issues with those first 2 episodes. We don't really get to meet Cassian. Like
Mm,
this is Cassian who's on the run. This is Cassian who's like gonna do whatever it takes to get out. The Cassian who we talked about, he's making the deals and the promises that he never fulfills. It's not until the scene where he meets Luthen and they both start revealing like their actual feelings for the Empire.
mhm,
That's when Cassian Andor shows up. It's like, okay, this is who this man actually is. You know, the way he says, he's like, you know, they're so arrogant. They don't expect us to walk into their homes, spit in their foods, and all that stuff. And I'm like, yes, this is the first bit of like honesty we've had from his character. And it took
mhm,
us 3 episodes, you know. And then also, we didn't have a lot of time with Luthen, but then that's where he makes the switch. He's like, don't you want to fight these bastards for real? I was like,
yeah,
yes, this is
yeah.
what we've been waiting for. Ah! So, yeah, man. And now that we're in it, it's really cool just to see how it's continuing. And like Cassian's really kind of like his own worst enemy at this point. You know, like he's kind of the big problem with this group.
Oh,
You
for
know, and
sure.
he's not really doing anything to fix that, which is why him admitting that he's a mercenary really like flipped the script and surprised me and changed the whole relationships with everyone. I'm like,
Mm,
again, finally he's honest. I'm like, nice,
yeah,
nice. Um, and not saying that, you know, all your characters need to be honest, but it's like as a storytelling device, it's just working it so much better this way. You
yeah,
know, like, okay,
definitely.
he's being honest again. I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. Um,
It's
it was
almost I
always
think.
it was always Cassian. Well, I guess this is kind of opposite of my example. I was gonna say he's been casting this whole time, but that's where we get Casa. That's where we get the real guy, you
Mm.
know. But it might be flipped because I know he becomes the rebel leader. So maybe it's like the opposite. Like, no, this Cassian is the rebel and he's slowly becoming him, you know. That's
Hmm.
why, okay, now we're finally getting to see him, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Is Batman or Bruce Wayne? You know, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
He's Batman.
Three things
Uh-huh.
to close it out. Uh, in Luthen's storeroom,
Uh-huh.
there are not only some Jedi, or two objects that resemble a Jedi and Sith holocrons,
Oh, cool.
both from like the Old Republic and Clone Wars and Rebels. But apparently, there are also the Shankara stones from Indiana Jones and the Temple of
Oh,
Doom.
that's cool.
Yeah, kind
Nice.
of tucked away in the little back there. I thought that was neat. Duh, 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 duh. Uh, the prop navigational tool that the kid Nemec
Uh-huh.
shows Andor is a modified Polaroid SLR 680, an instant folding camera that was introduced in the early
I was
80s.
gonna say, I'm like, that's I was watching him like that's a Polaroid camera,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Continuing the tradition of taking just little bits and bobs or old stuff and throwing some paint on it and kicking it in the dirt. It's like, yep, there you go. It's
There you go. Add a
old,
scope to it, it's sci-fi.
yeah, old
Add a
space
cog,
tech.
it's steampunk.
Exactly, exactly. And lastly, the proverb, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers, is Zimbabwean from the Shona tribe. And it
Hmm.
is a proverb that means a person who harms or borrows from someone will often forget, but the person who is harmed or borrowed from will always remember.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing
Uh,
with all these people, who've caused others harm, but then all of a sudden, oh, I found God.
oh
I know I
yeah,
made mistakes, but I'm living a better path now. While their victims are still out there feeling it,
yeah,
dealing with their trauma and stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's the exact same thing. But
yeah.
yeah.
Which to make a final note, I didn't want to gloss over it because it felt prudent and continues to feel like immediately prescient. But when Nemec is talking about the Empire,
Mhm.
and talking about, like it's a conversation of like starts from like, oh yeah, like this is old technology, but this is technology that works. And as long as you know how to fix it, it will continue to work. And we've become over reliant on the quickness and the easiness that the Empire provides, and all of
Mhm.
these things, and starts getting into the meat of it, where it's like, okay, this kid is like Skeen just kind of brushes him off as like he's an idealist. But it's
Mhm.
like, no, this is the guy. This is the guy who knows and sees what the Empire's doing and
Mhm.
believes in the cause because he's right.
Mhm.
And and the line that he says is like it's easier to hide behind 40 atrocities instead
Mhm.
of one.
Mhm.
And that's kind of that's the aim of the Empire. And thinking about it in terms of like there's so much Star Wars media now at this point where it's like we see the different plans. It's like we see like how far reaching, and how far back plans for, a giant planet killer go,
Mhm.
and seeing all of these like bits and pieces and all these other characters, Grievous and Maul and all these other players come in. It's like, oh yeah, this has always been the thing. It's like they have been the ones doing all of these seemingly random events that are all coinciding and coalescing to create the Empire.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I thought, like that's a very scary thing to think about, especially now, with all the things that are happening in our very real world,
Mhm.
not just in America, but across the globe. But I also think that it that means that, having the rebels take that same idea and applying it to their tactics,
Hmm.
stealing something from here, creating unrest in this one area, doing this thing over here, all of these random events. Oh yeah, the Deidre scene in this episode where she's putting it all together and saying, this is exactly how I would do it if I was leading them. And it's like, yeah, having all of these seemingly random events
Hmm.
coalescing into one thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So just something to remember.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. What was his name? He was like Trump's right-hand man in the first administration. Damn it.
Bannon?
Yeah, Steve Bannon. That was his whole thing. Um to overwhelm,
Yeah.
you know. That's why it's also interesting too when you look at like the really bad and scary news. Um always be careful when you watch or read the news because check your cite your sources, but
Yes.
also keep in mind what days of the week they're dropping
Mm-hmm.
because not always, but a lot of the really bad news comes on Fridays
Mm-hmm.
because they want you to think about it over the weekend. And it's the fear is the whole point of it. And that was Steve Bannon's original, I don't know, manifesto, whatever you want to call it, and it's exactly what Nemec was saying. Uh, you know, no one can focus on 40 atrocities. They can only do one. And the media, especially, that was Steve Bannon's thing. He doesn't care about the people, but the media can't focus on 40 atrocities. They focus on one or two, and that's
Mm-hmm.
literally all the resources they have. So that was his strategy. And so hearing Nemec talk about that, I was like, oh, dude, like that's crazy. That's fire. He's cooking, as the kids would say. I'm like, that's why I think like this kid's gonna die, but he's gonna have his manifesto, and for some reason, his family crest is the logo.
Is the Rebel logo?
Well, you see, his real name is actually Nemec Elijah Rebel.
Rebel?
Rebel. They named the alliance after him. This
Oh
is the
God.
Rebel Alliance. But
Wow.
yeah, because it's really interesting to compare him with Mon Mothma's kid, who we're talking about is just like teenage arrogance, think you know all the answers and you can fix the world. We've all been there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was that person too. Although, as I've said it before on this podcast, if everyone had listened to middle school Matt when he got into punk rock, we wouldn't be in this situation. Because here we are, decades later,
True.
and I'm feeling extremely validated by everything around me. I'm like,
Damn.
y'all should have listened to little Matt. But
Matt was right.
Matt was right. Uh, uh, but yeah, so it's interesting to compare Namek with Mon Mothma's kid, because this guy is the one who really understands, and it's gonna be interesting to see what goes further. Like, does the daughter actually like what does she mean? You're part of it. Is she actually like sympathetic, to I guess the everyone under the boot of the empire, or is it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like keyboard warrior? She's just kind of like trying to educate herself wherever she can, but she doesn't really understand it, you know?
Yeah.
Or is she gonna be like Julie Mao, who just like jumps ship and like she goes in and dies for the cause?
Mm.
Um, that's an Expanse reference if y'all haven't watched The Expanse. Um,
Which you should. It's also very good.
oh man, it's the best sci-fi ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting to see that the idealistic high school like student kind of view of the world and a
Yeah.
Nemec who's in it, who's living it. And Skeen's story about his brother was just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, dude, wow. But yeah, it's like, man, this guy is he is the rebellion. Like he
Yeah.
gets it, man. Yeah. So,
Uh
all in all,
eh,
great episode.
fantastic. MVPs?
Oh man. Um, I don't, I don't know. I don't think there was a specific standout this go around.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't know. So no.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, okay.
Yeah, but last thing I will say is the lieutenant, the Imperial guy. Very interesting to see him. I hope he doesn't die quick. Like
Mm,
I want to see more of his character because it's very fascinating when, you know, I forgot what her name is, Murder Girl. She talks about how he fell in love with a local and then he missed like lost a
promotion.
promotion because of it, and he
Hmm.
lost the girl. And I'm like, okay, hang on a second. Did they kill the girl? Was
Mm,
she forcibly relocated? Or was this all because he lost a promotion? Like, I want to know more. Because
yeah.
so far we haven't seen any sympathetic characters in the Empire, you
Hmm.
know? Um, Deidre's not that, but they do it in a way like I kind of want to see her like succeed, you know?
Oh yeah, for
Same
sure,
thing
for
with
sure.
Cyril. He's not in the Empire, but like he's a baddie for sure. But like I kind of want to see him succeed.
Yeah.
So, but like even the lieutenant's having to talk with that one guy on the bridge, and it's just kind of like this is a good convo. And then he ends it like very kind of racist, just like, oh yeah, but at least we don't have to smell him anymore. And I think even the lieutenant felt that. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, oh crap.
Like,
So
great.
that's something I'm
The
really
Empire, they're not sending their best.
right. Well, that's something I'm really interested in to see if they tackle because like we had the Nuremberg trials and stuff and all these people who were just quote unquote following
Following
orders,
orders, yeah.
and I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see some of that here. People actually defecting or people who are just like too afraid to defect and they're just going to follow orders, because
Mm,
so far it seems like everyone's a baddie,
mm,
So
hmm.
I want to actually see someone who's in that position have to make that choice.
Yeah,
It's like you doing this like like this is it, man. Like you're bad. Like there's no going back,
yeah, yeah. Next week, we're gonna see how it all plays out in Andor, season 1, episode 6, The Eye, in which the mission goes off. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you
Mm-hmm.
next week. We'll be right back here, same bat time, same bat channel. Hashtag us. We've talked a lot about a lot of stuff. So just if you have a response or want to add to any of the stuff that we've talked about this episode, make sure you include the hashtag Lost Legacies. We're on
Mm-hmm.
every platform except Twitter, and we will find it. You can find me on Instagram, BluSky, and Threads at Real. It's REEL Texas Weirdo.
I'm on Instagram and Threads at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch and on BluSky Matthew Jimenez. And I'm not the best at checking it. Dan was sending us messages for weeks and I just saw him. I'm like, oh God. But our buddy Dan, he said he's gonna join us for Andor. I'm like, oh geez, I didn't
Hey,
know.
Dan, you're a real one, and we appreciate it. If we could, we'd hire you.
Yeah, let us know what you think
Also,
of the show so far.
yeah, tell us what you think about this about Andor so far. Also, I think I did get locked out of my BluSky account, so I might have to make a new one.
Oh crap.
Um, yeah, I haven't been on it, and it's like the thing that like with the update from the iPhones, it's like if you don't use an app, it just you have to like re-download it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't remember my password, so yeah, I might be making a new account, but yeah. Well, tune in next week, and until then,
Get
get
lost.
lost.